In the heart of a picturesque town, there lay a charming neighborhood known as Maplewood Grove. This tight-knit community was filled with colorful houses, neatly trimmed lawns, and friendly faces. Children played in the parks while neighbors gathered for weekend barbecues, creating a warm and welcoming atmosphere that felt like home. Maplewood Grove had a homeowners association, HOA, that was intended to help preserve its beauty and ensure everyone followed the same rules. The HOA was responsible for maintaining community standards, such as keeping yards tidy and organizing seasonal events. Most residents believed that having an HOA would keep their property values high and their neighborhood looking its best. However, the spirit of the community began to change as the board became more controlling. Instead of working together for the common good, residents started to feel stifled by strict regulations and harsh penalties. What had once been a joyful place to live began to feel like a battleground over petty rules. Little did they know that one brave homeowner would soon challenge this growing problem and ignite a movement that would change Maplewood Grove forever. At the center of the HOA's growing control was Karen, a formidable figure known for her unwavering determination to enforce rules. With her sharp features and no-nonsense attitude, she commanded attention at every board meeting. As the head of the HOA, Karen believed it was her duty to uphold the community's standards, but her strict enforcement of regulations soon crossed the line into tyranny. Karen had a knack for spotting even the tiniest infractions, whether a lawn was not perfectly manicured or a holiday decoration remained up too long. She often approached homeowners with a stern expression and a clipboard in hand, ready to issue fines that many felt were unreasonable. Her obsession with order made her both feared and disliked among residents. While some admired her dedication to keeping Maplewood Grove pristine, most began to see her as an obstacle to their enjoyment of home life. Whispers of discontent spread through the neighborhood, as families felt suffocated by her oppressive rules. Karen's reign seemed unshakable, but beneath the surface, a growing resentment simmered, one that would soon spark a movement against her iron grip on their beloved community. The tension in Maplewood Grove escalated when Karen began imposing a series of illegal fines for minor infractions that had never been enforced before. One day, she knocked on the door of Mr. Thompson, an elderly resident, to let him know that his mailbox was painted the wrong shade of blue. A hefty fine soon followed, leaving him confused and upset. Next, Karen targeted the Anderson family for having 2 lawn chairs out front during a weekend party. The chairs, which previously adorned various porches around the neighborhood, were suddenly deemed unsightly and resulted in another unnecessary fine. Residents watched in disbelief as their once cozy community transformed into a battleground of penalties and fear. As word spread about these increasingly petty infractions, frustration simmered among homeowners. Families began comparing their fines over coffee and realized they were not alone in experiencing Karen's overreach. The atmosphere became charged with anger and resentment, uniting neighbors who once enjoyed carefree summer evenings together. This mounting dissatisfaction created whispers of defiance against Karen's tight grip on the HOA, a spark gradually igniting the flames of rebellion that would soon challenge her power. Amidst the growing discontent, one resident decided enough was enough. Her name was Lisa, a passionate and determined mother of 2, who had always cherished the sense of community in Maplewood Grove. Witnessing the chaos that Karen's fines were causing, Lisa felt a sense of responsibility to take action. After hearing multiple stories from her neighbors about unfair fines, she started keeping detailed notes, a record of dates, amounts, and the reasons for each penalty. Lisa soon realized those minor infractions added up, creating financial strain on families who were simply trying to enjoy their homes. Recognizing the impact this was having on everyone's morale, she resolved to dig deeper. Lisa began hosting small meetings at her house, inviting concerned neighbors to discuss their experiences with Karen. These gatherings offered an outlet for frustration and a chance to share evidence against the HOA's overreach. As Lisa listened to her neighbors' stories, her resolve grew stronger. She knew they needed to unite if they were going to reclaim their beloved neighborhood from Karen's grip. Fueled by her determination and empathy for others, Lisa transformed from a worried resident into the courageous leader Maplewood Grove desperately needed. Lisa plunged into her investigation with newfound determination, diving deep into the HOA's rules and regulations. Late at night, she meticulously pored over the community guidelines document, searching for any clauses that might support her neighbors' claims of unfair penalties. To her surprise, she found several inconsistencies between what was written and how Karen was applying the rules. Next, she scheduled one-on-one interviews with frustrated homeowners across Maplewood Grove. Each conversation revealed a tapestry of shared grievances. Sarah had received a fine for leaving her garden tools out overnight, while the Roberts family faced a penalty for having their kids' toys in the yard. As Lisa listened to their stories, it became clear that many residents felt cornered and powerless under Karen's rule. Inspired by these testimonials, Lisa recorded every detail, knowing this information could be crucial in rallying support. During her meetings, she invited both supporters and skeptics to voice their concerns and experiences, ensuring everyone felt heard. Each story bolstered her resolve as she grasped the scale of Karen's overreach. With each interview, the fractures in Karen's authority began to widen, igniting a fire within the community, a desire for justice and change that would soon surge forward. With a clear mission in mind, Lisa set out to rally her fellow residents and build a strong community coalition against Karen's oppressive rule. She organized a series of meetings at the local community center, carefully crafting flyers that detailed the purpose of the gatherings. Word spread quickly, and soon neighbors were eager to voice their frustrations and seek change. At the first meeting, the room buzzed with energy as Lisa welcomed everyone. She encouraged residents to share their stories and experiences, allowing them to express their feelings of anger and helplessness. As she listened, Lisa took notes and reminded everyone of their rights as homeowners, emphasizing that they deserved a voice in their community. Lisa also introduced the idea of forming a committee to formally challenge the HOA and its unfair fines. The enthusiasm in the room was palpable, as many residents nodded in agreement and shared additional grievances. With each meeting, more neighbors showed up, united by a common goal, to reclaim their neighborhood from Karen's control. As the community began to solidify its support, Lisa felt a surge of hope. Together, they were not just individuals fighting against an unjust system, they were becoming a powerful collective ready to stand up for their rights and restore harmony in Maplewood Grove. With the community now united behind her, Lisa called for strategy sessions to plan their next steps in confronting the HOA board. These meetings were held in various homes, where neighbors gathered around dining tables with hot coffee and snacks, filled with a renewed sense of purpose. Lisa encouraged everyone to brainstorm ideas on how to effectively challenge Karen and her fellow board members. During these sessions, they discussed the importance of gathering signatures for a petition to officially call for elections. Lisa emphasized the need for clear communication and transparency, highlighting that they needed candidates who truly represented the interests of the residents. Each neighbor brought unique skills to the table. Some had experience in writing persuasive letters, while others were good at creating flyers and organizing events. As they mapped out their strategy, Lisa created a timeline that outlined key milestones leading up to the election. They agreed to hold a community picnic as a way to gather support and publicize their movement, inviting not just participants but also those who might still be hesitant about the changes. The energy in the room was electric as they rehearsed their speeches and honed their messages. With each session, confidence grew. They were no longer a group of frustrated neighbors but a cohesive team ready to reclaim their community from Karen's overreach. The day of the showdown finally arrived, and the atmosphere in the community center was electric with anticipation. Homeowners packed the room, their faces a mix of determination and anxiety as they waited for Karen to arrive. Lisa stood at the front, ready to lead the charge. She could feel the unity among her neighbors, a powerful force that had been building over weeks of planning and collaboration. When Karen entered, her confident demeanor quickly shifted as she took in the crowd. With a steely gaze, she attempted to assert her authority but was met with a wave of voices rising in unison. Lisa stepped forward, presenting the carefully gathered evidence of Karen's illegal fines and inconsistencies in HOA rules. As each resident stood up to share their story, the tension transformed into solidarity. Mr. Thompson recounted his experience with the mailbox fine, while Sarah spoke about her penalty for lawn chairs. The room resonated with shared grievances, and it became clear to everyone present that Karen's reign of intimidation was crumbling. Finally, Lisa called for a vote on whether to proceed with plans for a special election to remove Karen and the board. The overwhelming response was a chorus of yes, affirming their commitment to reclaiming their community. That moment solidified their strength as a united front, ready to bring about real change in Maplewood Grove. The day of the election arrived with an air of excitement and nervous anticipation. Lisa and her neighbors gathered at the community center, ready to cast their votes to remove Karen and the entire HOA board. Among them was a palpable sense of hope and determination, as everyone recognized that this was a turning point for their beloved neighborhood. As residents filed in, they received ballots featuring names of candidates who genuinely represented the community's interests. Lisa made sure to explain the voting process clearly, emphasizing the importance of every voice being heard. It was a chance for them to reclaim control over their own streets, homes, and lives. When the voting commenced, each resident approached the makeshift voting booth with pride, knowing they were standing up for what they believed in. Conversations about plans for a future community without oppressive rules buzzed in the background. Once all the ballots were cast, Lisa and a few volunteers anxiously tallied the votes, their hearts racing in anticipation. The room gradually fell silent, and when Lisa announced the results, an overwhelming majority in favor of new leadership, a cheer erupted from the crowd. Tears of joy were shed as they celebrated this hard-fought victory and prepared to usher in a new era of unity and fairness in Maplewood Grove. In the aftermath of the election, a newfound sense of empowerment swept through Maplewood Grove. Lisa and her neighbors were filled with hope as they began to dismantle the oppressive regulations that had plagued their community for so long. The removal of Karen and the old board marked the start of an era defined by collaboration and mutual respect. During community meetings, residents banded together to establish new guidelines that promoted fairness and transparency. They created a task force designed to oversee the enforcement of rules, ensuring that no one person could wield power as Karen once had. Homeowners were encouraged to voice their opinions and suggest changes, leading to a more inclusive approach in managing the neighborhood. As they celebrated their victory with regular potlucks and neighborhood events, the unity within Maplewood Grove deepened. Families who had once felt isolated now forged friendships based on shared experiences and common goals. Children played freely in yards without fear of petty fines, while adults engaged in lively discussions about future improvements. Lisa was amazed at how quickly the community transformed. What had once been a battleground had become a sanctuary of cooperation. Together, they cultivated an environment where everyone felt valued and heard, fully committed to nurturing their beloved neighborhood for years to come. As the dust settled from the election, Karen faced the harsh reality of her removal from power. The once confident head of the HOA now found herself grappling with embarrassment and disbelief as she watched her neighbors celebrate their newfound freedom. For years, she had held sway over Maplewood Grove, enforcing rules that many felt were unreasonable, only to be dethroned by a community united against her tyranny. At first, Karen struggled to comprehend the magnitude of her loss. She had thought her strict methods were necessary for maintaining order, but the overwhelming response from residents proved otherwise. As she walked through the neighborhood in the days following her removal, she was met with scornful whispers and sidelong glances, a stark contrast to the respect she believed she commanded. This humiliation served as a powerful reminder of the importance of community action against injustice. Residents who had once felt fearful now stood tall, emboldened by their collective strength to speak out. Karen's downfall became a lesson for all. When individuals come together for a common cause, they can reclaim their rights and create positive change. The harmony restored in Maplewood Grove not only reinforced the bond between neighbors but also showcased the power of standing up against oppression. The events that unfolded in Maplewood Grove left a lasting impact on the community, teaching invaluable lessons about standing up for their rights and the power of collective action. Residents learned that voicing their concerns and uniting for a common cause could lead to significant change. The experience reinforced the importance of holding leaders accountable and ensuring that fairness and transparency govern the HOA. In the wake of Karen's removal, neighbors fostered deeper connections, realizing that collaboration not only strengthens their voices but also enriches their lives. They began to organize regular community meetings where everyone could express their thoughts, participate in decision-making, and discuss future projects to improve their neighborhood. This newfound openness cultivated a strong sense of belonging and trust among residents. Moreover, they established a neighborhood committee dedicated to monitoring HOA rules and encouraging community involvement, ensuring that no one person could dominate again. With enhanced communication and active participation, residents felt empowered to protect their rights and interests. As they reflected on their journey, lifelong friendships blossomed, reinforcing bonds that had once been frayed by fear and division. The struggle against oppression became a powerful reminder: when a community stands together, it not only transforms its present but also secures a brighter future for generations to come.